Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, January 28th, 2016, the FBI released the video of the supposed shooting of Robert LaVoy Finicum, the Oregon protester who was participating in the controlled opposition event put on by our federal government. Again, if you've missed my earlier work on this standoff, please go back and review. This was a contrived incident by the federal government for propaganda purposes. And the message from this propaganda is that protest against the tyrants is futile. The reason they have controlled opposition do it is so that they can guarantee their failure and sell that message, which is the message of this standoff to the public. If you stand against the government, you will be jailed, you might even be killed. And that's the message they want people to take home. It's a message of submit. Bow down to your master. And that's why they sell this story. That's why they contrive this story. That's why they create this story with actor agents, which is exactly what they've done. Okay, so right here I want to look at this headline from January 6th, 2016. This is 20 days before Robert LaVoy Finicum was shot. Notice what the headline says. Oregon occupier LaVoy Finicum warns FBI he'd take death over jail. In the entire time this standoff's been taking place, there hasn't been any other headlines about any of the members of this standoff saying anything like this. The narrative was being built for LaVoy Finicum. And remember, this is a planned story, part of a planned agenda, planned propaganda for the masses. I can't help but notice the post time of this story either, 7:47. Remember the significance of the numbers 74 and 47. Masonic equals 74. Oregon, the only state with a gematria of 74 out of the 50 states. 74 and 47 are the numbers of the Masons and the Zionists. So is the number 33. Oregon is the 33rd state. This is new information to you. Please visit my work. I expose this in all of the made-for-TV hoaxes. When Finicum was shot, the media routinely showed this image, saying this is the man who was shot by the FBI today, him standing in front of the sun with the flag behind him. 3 fingers up. You can leave those fingers to interpretation. Anyhow, his name in gematria is the giveaway of the actor agent that he is. Robert LaVoy Finicum has gematria of 93. This is a very special number. It's a number connected to the sun, and Freemasonry is largely centered around sun worship, sun symbolism. The words propaganda have gematria of 93. Just like crucifix, it's a number that often shows up around sacrifice. This is the character in the story who got sacrificed. Ammon Bundy, another contrived name. Ammon Bundy saying his death was for a great cause, for a necessary cause. I also point out that the word sunny has gematria of 93. No coincidence. Think about that in light of the sun being 93 million miles away, so we're told. Also, as I pointed out from day one when I showed that this was a hoax set up by the numbers, coinciding with the Alamo Bowl that Oregon was participating in, I pointed out all the connections to Waco. Waco also began in 93 and ended with a staged shooting incident. No different than what's going on here with LaVoy Finicum. They also say LaVoy Finicum's 54 years old. The word sun has a gematria of 54. 54 and 93 often get paired together in these propaganda stories. What I noticed from the mainstream reporting is they also had this detail that his family supposedly sung Amazing Grace and posted it online just hours before his death. Truth Seeker, this is part of the foreshadowing for where this narrative is going. Who else recently sang Amazing Grace? As you might recall, it was Barack Obama, the 44th president. I've done a video showing the significance of that song, and what it foreshadows. The media drops all these clues because it's part of an ongoing narrative. It doesn't end here with the Oregon Standoff. It's just the latest chapter in what's to come. Let's watch the CNN footage of this shooting. We're going to watch this shooting a few times, and I want you to hear the voice of another channel on YouTube and how they participate in this propaganda.
As the truck approaches the roadblock, there is a spike strip across the road, but it appears Finicum missed it as he attempted to drive around the roadblock. He nearly hits an FBI agent as he maneuvers to the left. The truck gets stuck in the snowbank. Finicum leaves the truck and steps through the snow. Agents and troopers on scene had information that Finicum and others would be armed. On at least 2 occasions, Finicum reaches his right hand toward a pocket on the left inside portion.
Did you see that, Truth Seeker? How at first he came out with his hands up. It didn't show him exit the vehicle, though. The way they filmed it, it just kind of like skips, and then you see him walking. He has his hands up, but then he does this maneuver where he reaches. Let's just watch how they present that again. You never see him come out of the vehicle. He's already out. This film came out after the fact. As I always say, you cannot trust film footage that the media gives. There's so much room for manipulation within film footage.
To the left. The truck gets stuck in the snowbank. Finicum leaves the truck and steps through the snow. Agents and troopers on scene had information that Finicum and others would be armed.
You see how he did that double reach move? Arms up, but then he starts reaching for his waist.
On at least 2 occasions, Finicum reaches his right hand toward a pocket on the left inside portion of his jacket. He did have a loaded 9mm semi-automatic handgun in that pocket.
His arms moving. We see the officers down below point. We're supposed to think that they're shooting more. So that's the CNN footage. It doesn't show the full thing. We're going to watch another video, but what I want you to notice, CNN wiped out the timestamp on the footage of this. Right here, what we're looking at is the full length that the FBI released, 26 minutes, 28 seconds in length. If you can make this out, the timestamp on this video is January 27th, 2016, which is not the day this event happened. This event took place January 26th. So why is the timestamp on this video a day off? In the history of false footage given to the people trying to explain events, it's very often for the timestamp to be off. And I think this is part of the riddle the powers that be put before our eyes in their made-for-TV manipulation. I want to show you something about this wrong date that they put on here. 1/27/16 is a date with 44 numerology. And if you're new to my channel, that's a special number. That's the kill number. So many assassinations and deaths are centered around this number. The word kill has a gematria of 44, just like the numerology of this mistaken timestamp. Okay, so we're going to close this video out by watching Professor Doom's breakdown of the shooting. What I want you to take away is that Professor Doom is not a reliable source of information, which should be apparent just based on his name, Professor Doom, reminding you of the mainstream media and its constant fear-mongering. I'm familiar with Doom's channel because almost every day subscribers of mine send me videos from Doom saying, "Hey, check out what Professor Doom found." You guys, I'm not interested in Professor Doom's work because he's another person who doesn't get it. In almost every breakdown he does of the hoaxes, he can't determine if they're a hoax, and he makes it seem like they might be real. He's a person who hasn't figured out the truth in the year 2016, which is quite sad for someone who supposedly breaks down the media every day. The media has not changed since 2001 when September 11th occurred. That was the biggest lie ever told in the history of the world through the mainstream media that has been used to justify illegal wars of aggression, the loss of liberties, and the building of a surveillance state. And it didn't start then. It started long before. It's been the agenda of the media since it was created. The mainstream media has always been a military psychological operations program. In the first video I did on this hoax in Oregon, I did a video showing how Waco, the Oklahoma City bombing, and September 11th were all synced up by the same numbers, 33 and 93. These are the clues of the hoax beyond everything else that is apparent. And if you learn this language of numerology and gematria, you will see through these hoaxes in record time. Doom is not learning the lessons. He's being manipulated by watching visual evidence put forth on the TV. You cannot trust what your eyes see on the TV. These people are the masters of deception. They create made-for-TV movies and present it as news. And I want you to watch how Doom is completely deceived by all of this. He also makes no mention of the incorrect timestamp. So we're going to finish by watching his coverage. I'm going to pause a few times and point out the things he does. So here we go with Doom's propaganda.
And there he skids up to the embankment right there. Or he's out with his hands up. And there's people already up here in the trees. Watch. And they shot him.
Listen to the way Doom just called that, like a dishonest sports commentator. And his hands are up. But then he doesn't mention how he puts his hands down at his waist multiple times. A very stupid thing to do if people are pointing their guns at you. Doom is trying to sell the narrative that, you know, these are the patriots standing up for America and look what's happening to them. No, that is the false message. This is controlled opposition, like I said in the beginning of the video. His arms moving.
And they were shooting him some more.
And then we see the officers point, and Doom says they're shooting him some more, which we can't tell. There's no, the camera's too high up from this helicopter. We can't hear anything. We can't see any blood. We can't see any gun recoil.
And just like she said, they were firing incendiary rounds up into the truck because there were people still into the truck, which doesn't make sense because Mark McConnell says that all of them were pulled out and LaVoy took off on his own. So who's still in the truck then? Remember, she just claimed that that truck was being shot at many, many, many times. Many times. Look, you see it? They're hunkered down and they're scared crapless. This right here, oh my God, man. My God. See the bullet holes right through the glass right here? I mean, that's what I see. I mean, I'm only speculating. It looks right here. See it? You can just see the tuft of smoke coming off there. And you can see bullet holes all through the front windshield. Those are bullet holes. Indeed, they are.
I mean, he doesn't even know what he's saying as he goes. He's speculating. They are indeed. I mean, what is it, Doom? We saw how the video was edited when he came out. These are made-for-TV scenes. Propaganda. Wake up, brother.
Now, anybody want to say that that guy right there laying in the snow is fake?
I don't want to say he's fake, but it's very easy for an actor to lay down in the snow for a couple of minutes. I mean, maybe Doom's never been in the snow. Maybe he thinks it's scary or impossible. As someone who grew up on the mountain a lot in the Northwest, I'm from Oregon, I've laid down in the snow a few times. You can survive it. Let's hear what else Doom has to say.
You guys want to think that this was all games? How many of you freakazoids out there are still thinking that this is all a bunch of make-believe horseshit?
So in there he has to insult people, calling them freakazoids for pointing out that this is propaganda and a hoax. He's speaking to people like me, which it is. And who says freakazoids besides Mormons? That reminds me that this LaVoy character is a Mormon too. The Mormons, a very Masonic church. The Freemasons putting on these spectacles. Doom has a lot to wake up to. And so do you who follow his channel and all these other shield channels and ill-informed channels. This is a hoax. This is government propaganda. Don't be so easily duped by what your eye sees on the TV. A platform made for deception. Until next time.